send it. All you do is you send it to that your Gerard at something email, so you can open it.
Can you pause? Can they pause the stream?
You can pause the stream.
Then maybe stop it when I want to start. I will do it again.
Okay, it's Gerard at. So you send it to Gerard at, so you can get it here. Want to collect reviews today.
Like I just do it here and then.
Yeah. So I want to collect reviews. So just tell them, okay, this is what we've done. So choose file or close file.
And do it.
I'll copy the link.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll copy. So collect reviews. Put it there. So I've sent the link. Yeah, for the stream. Look, like go on. Where's the system?
So let me see.
Where's it? Where's it?
Which one? System. Let me refresh it now. Check first.
Morning. Leon, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Happy New Week.
How was your weekend?
It's okay.
Please, just give me a minute, please. Trying to set up
All right,
something.
that's fine.
I've shared the file here, but I can't find it. I also sent it to me.
It's not still showing. Okay.
Good morning, everyone. Don't worry, I'll- You did fine. that's why I was talking about how all these slides.
You're still on. Good morning. Can you guys see my screen? Hello, can you guys see my screen? Molara and Lillian. Good morning, everyone. So that was our weekend now. So happy new week. Good morning. And happy new week to all of us. Let me use 5 minutes of the time and recap from everything we've done so far, and before continuing, asking you guys one or two to know how well we've been going. So, firstly, is the assignment. I gave an extension. People didn't still submit theirs even after the extension. So, but be the last time I'll talk about the assignments. Serious. If I give anybody that wants to submit their assignment, I think only 4 people turned in their assignment. So it's quite a very low number. But in everything I'm trying to do, I always say it that the assignment is not actually for me. What I actually give out, I know it. So it's just to see the understanding and maybe come to class and correct it. Let me just know where people are having, you know, there is no this full understanding of the concept. So I'll come and we'll discuss it again to understand much better. So, but it seems I'm doing too much. So, and also Sorry for the delay that we are starting the class now, please. Sorry about that. So, and so far so good. So I want our honest views on how on the past 2 weeks, how has it been? So I want an honest reaction. How has it been? How has the bootcamp been helping? And how has been my performance so far? So I just want to know your views, and then in anywhere we want to a kind of where you are not satisfied, try as much as possible to make it in the way that you would like it much better. See, Akali, please mute your mic. Mute your mic, please. Omolara, mute your mic, please. Thank you. Oh. So this morning we are starting fully on the ISC Square Certified in Cyber Security curriculum, and the first domain is security principles. So remember that they have other domains which we are going to cover: network security, access control, and all that. So we are going to still talk about data and data security, um, network defense, and all that. So for this first week, I don't know if we can cover it up, but I'll take my time so that we understand everything, no rushing. So um, we are fully started now. I think this is where you need more of the focus now, because this course gives you more details, more than everything we've been doing. So it gives more insights to topics. So most of the things I've been saying, you guys will be saying it now much often, and God's willing, before we finish, you would have had the knowledge of how to secure assets, data, informations, network systems, and every other connected systems. So um, firstly, these are not only the objectives for this domain one. I just listed a few. Um, it's been a kind of very stressful compiling the notes, but so people just manage it however it is, because I've actually tried my best to couple up most things you guys will need. So, and also if we are able to finish it, I've decided on I'll teach us a tool which you can just be playing around with. But remember, the objectives we set at first was, to give you guys the foundational knowledge. That was it. That you sit for these exams, right? And then I told you guys that this exam doesn't involve practical aspect at all. It's a kind of knowledge based, because it's foundational. So there is no tools. So, but I have decided that if there are some weeks, I will, if there are a few weeks remaining, depending on how many weeks is remaining, I'll check how long will we use to learn the tool, and then if it tallies that the space remaining, we can do it. We'll definitely do it. So because after this, all these domains, we have mock exam to do there, right? So, and then we have other every weekly assessment after every domain. It will be like multiple questions on the after every domain. And then so because I need us to, the main focus is for you guys to pass these very exams. It's the main focus. So I won't rush it because I want to teach you guys a tool. But the promise that if there is time left, I will find a tool that I know doesn't maybe require coding and all that. Maybe just a few command lines like that. So we'll be able to have maybe knowledge of one tool. So but I've not even decided on which tool yet. So but it's a promise from me to you guys. So we've talked about introductions to cybersecurity, talked about attacks, techniques, and concepts that's happened. We talked about data and how to secure data using softwares, and then also we understood how attacks happens, social engineering, reconnaissance, both the active, the passive. You are joining us for the first class. Um, you've not missed a lot in the sense that some of the things we did from the past, we are going to still keep them, but in a more detailed way. So you are not actually late. So, but I'll still give you the resources of the ones you've done, so you go through it and see for yourself. So, firstly is the purpose of the CIA triad. Now, remember that the CIA triad is not like the Central Intelligence Agency that CIA used to hear in movies and all that. No, it's different. Now, this CIA is for confidentiality, integrity, and availability. We remember through our introduction to cybersecurity on Cisco, we talked about that they are the foundations of security, right? Now, everything we are doing falls in the basis of the CIA triad of the confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Almost all our security practices based on these three things. So all of the scope of everything about cybersecurity is this. So because every security system, every security mechanism, every security policies were made because of there should be confidentiality, there should be integrity of data, and there should always be availability of data. So you see that overall everything that we do is under this. Okay, because as you are thinking of protecting any system, you have to also check, okay, the availability at all times, data has to be available, right? So you see that you put that in focus when making policies or creating those defense mechanisms technically, and then putting them in places to ensure that data are not being altered while they are being transferred, or while there's a transmission ongoing, or that an unauthorized user doesn't have access to an authorized file. So the main purpose of this CIA triad is to protect an organization's data and assets, right? So I've told us that the whole view is to protecting an organization. Everything falls under the CIA triad. It's very big because once we start digital signatures, there are cryptographic way of securing. We are going to see it in this class. I'm just trying to elaborate more on the CIA triad for you to know how important it is, right? So these digital signatures are like, it creates integrity in the sense of every mail or has this verifiable uh, number that once it gets to any user, it checks which vendors has it. Now there is only a few authorized vendors that gives out those digital certificates to ensure that this message has not been altered in any way. So we are going to see those processes and everything, but the overall securing, maybe using through a secure tunnel, the transport layer system, the secure transport layer system, or at the SSH level where um, data are being transferred through encrypted tunnels so that it cannot be viewed by an unauthorized person. So you see, whatever it is we are doing, it falls under the CIA triad. So any, as I earlier said, anything you are doing, you are thinking from these three phases. Okay, how do I protect it that people who are not supposed to have access to these files don't have access to it? How will I protect it that this file should not be modified? You have to think towards that. Okay, so and also how I should put up at least a very much amount of an uptime for a system. There should be least average hours for a downtime for it to happen. So that is where the incident response comes in, the disaster recovery, which we are going to do in the next domain, business continuity. Business continuity in that there is always availability at any junction of any incident or after any interruptions, disruptions at the network or whichever layer that was attacked, right? So you see that whatever it is that we are going to be doing, if you focus well, you are going to see that it falls under this. So in that exam too, they will putting it in the sense that okay, this method of security policy falls under which of the CIA triad is a question, right? So you see that you are the one to think, okay, what does this one do more? Either it protects unauthorized user from having access or is it availability. So you are going to think what that security mechanism best its own line of action, how it does it, how it put it into actions and all that. So you see that overall everything about the cyberspace security all hinged on this CIA triad. So they ensure only authorized users have access to data and system, which have is part of the confidentiality now. Now in this statement now, there are different, there are the statements there are like indicating it in the CIA default. Now ensure only authorized user having access to data and system. That is confidentiality, right? So and then ensure data cannot be altered in an unauthorized way. Cannot be altered. That is integrity, right? So you see that data is available at all times. That informations are available at all times. So it talks about availability, right? So you see all these purposes still falls under what those three triads talk, right? So now the CIA triad, confidentiality now, right? So ensures that sensitive information is accessible only to authorized individuals. We are trying to recap before we move on to the other one. So
Please, there's
now
noise in the background or something.
please help me off
Please,
the
Omolara, if you have a mic.
uh, just allow them off. Let me just stop that talk. I really am feeling hot inside self. So is it okay now?
No, Omolara should have a mic.
Can you hear me
Omolara should have
clearly?
a mic.
Omolara should off her mic. Omolara should off her mic.
I've been saying it since and then Samuel, you raised your hand.
Yes, I was trying to tell
Please, somebody should text
Omolara
Omolara.
should have
Tell
a
her to
mic.
mute her
That's
mic,
all.
please. Lillian, please help me text her, please. Tell her to mute her mic, please. Good morning, ma'am. Welcome. He's inside. Yeah, yeah. Yes, yes, ma'am.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
It matters a lot that you which people have hands on data which you are protecting. So it's a very big thing. It's a very big thing. That is why it's the foundation of security principles. It's the foundation. Right? So the techniques, well, some of them are the encryption, access control, multi-factor authentication. Now, when you see questions about all this, now these techniques are adding layers, security layers, in order that the whoever wants to access it don't have access to it unless he is someone who should have access to it. Now, for multi-factor authentication is okay. We all have talked about it, about having two layers or three layers, which is multi-factor. If it's two layers alone, two-factor authentication. So the abbreviation is 2FA. So remember I told us that they use abbreviations in the exams very well. So it's now whatever you are doing, you see MFA, that's how they put the question. Nobody will put multi-factor authentication. So you are going to know this is multi-factor authentication. So in all of this is protecting it. Now access control methods there are different types of control techniques and through access ways, which we are going to see in this same class today, God's willing, and then encryption also, which we are going to still see. But before then, let me give us a little insight time. Let me just like encryption. We know that is um, turning informations from plain text to ciphertext so that whoever doesn't have the decryption key cannot have access to it. So you see that in that way, you've blocked an unauthorized person from viewing this file, from accessing it, right? So you see, in whatever he's doing, is the unauthorized people not having access. So you understand this for confidentiality. So in whichever phase or whichever question is being put up to you, you know that confidentiality is more on not allowing who doesn't have access, who should not have access to this thing, having access to it, right? So
Please, I have
a
a
bank,
question. Sorry.
all right, go
Okay,
on.
so recently, I got an email for the statement of my pension, right? And
Okay,
so I had to download the statement, and the code to decrypt it is the last four digits of my pension code, right? So it got me thinking: is that asymmetric or symmetric encryption?
okay, all right. So it's more of they only encrypted use only a key because the sender doesn't have another key which he should know that you've not checked it. Now, the reason I said is symmetric. Symmetric, remember, it only involves one key, opening and closing. So they too,
Yeah.
whoever has access to those last four digits of it now can open it. Now, where you have two asymmetric, where there should be a private key and a public key. Now, this is what happens. Now, when the sender wants to send you that message, now what he does first is we said he encrypts it, right, with a key. Now he will now set it in the way that he will be the one to give you the key, right? Now, but most of the times, the reason symmetric again, I said is symmetric is in that the encryption key is something you know. You understand? It's like something that belongs to you, not that he created that key. You get?
Uh-huh.
So he used. Sorry, you said?
No, no, I'm concurring with you.
All right, thank you. So he used those numbers of yours to set up those keys in the sense that he doesn't need to be the one to create. There's generation key for asymmetry, which we are going to see. There's how they generate it, and then from the generation methods, you understand this is asymmetric, this is symmetric. Now is there are generation methods now, right? Now, most of the times, asymmetric that involves two keys, there is how their numbers are. You understand? Now, you said last four digits. Another thing to make it the symmetric are more shorter in their decryption keys, while asymmetric are more longer. You understand? So, if he used a symmetric type of encryption for it, okay? So, but that is why it is not also secure, right? Now, if he has done that for other pensioners too, now they knows that it's the last four, so they might go through the roll call of every person using those last four. That is why the symmetric encryption type is not as strong as asymmetric encryption type, right? So there is a low level security to this effect, right? It is not very much secured. So I hope that answers your question.
Yes, yes. I just wanted to confirm because I thought it was symmetric. So I just wanted to confirm that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so integrity now. Now it ensures that data remain accurate, consistent, and unaltered, right? Now that is his own thing, that this thing has not been changed from what it was before to a new thing. So if there has not been a modification, then the integrity code per se now happens to be in play, in the sense that this information I sent it as a document, and then in that document it hasn't been modified from how it has been previously sent. Now these techniques include this hashing, digital signatures, data backups, and checksums. Now all these things are techniques used. Now when they use a hashing question now to ask you a question and then ask you which of the CIA tried is in play here, right? Now these techniques that you see that they put up here is for you to understand that this one plays more for confidentiality, right? Now this technique now we tell you now that for hashing to happen, that means the data has had a hash value that if there's a modification done to it, it cannot be the same. Remember that hash values cannot create, they are always unique. Now once created, it happens one. Now if this document now I'm reading on, I created a hash value for it, and then I sent you the document. Now I'll send you that hashing value I got, so that you too will hash it and see if they come back the same number, that means it's the same, right? But then if there's a little modification as a dot in it, it changes. Overall the document changes. Now the hashing value comes different. Now when there is a clash of those hash values, now the integrity has been breached, right? So these techniques, we are going to see checksums, hashing, digital signatures in more details. So a hospital uses digital signatures to prevent modification of patient records. So availability, now it ensures that informations are system are accessible when needed. Now what do we use? We use redundant systems, DDoS mitigations. Remember what it does. So regular maintenance, right? To always make sure that there is no ongoing attack or anything, in order to keep the systems up, right? Now this DDoS, remember that is a type of attack that it slows down the system, that there won't be much availability of informations to users, right? Because everything has been slowed down or even crashed. So you see that at that time when you want to access something, you cannot access it. So as cyber security professional, is at all times data are available, readily available at all times. Okay, so but then there's still measures like how to mitigate it so that it doesn't get longer than an attack should take, right? So that if sorry, good morning, for the front end. Okay, it's that class next time. So um cloud storage providers use data replication to ensure uptime. So in case of if the other one has been corrupted, there is way to get another data immediately so that people can still keep processing, right? So that is where data backups comes in, right? Using redundant systems. That is what these redundant systems is saying. That you have another place where these informations are. In case of maybe fire disaster in where you are, you have another data center available that it will just pick up, and then business operations still continue, right? So authentication, authorization, and accounting, the AA model. Now there are other ones, you might see the IAA model. Now identification, authentication, authorization, and accounting, but the identification still somehow falls under this authentication. So I just use the AA model, right? It's been updated, but before it was more of IAA model: identification, authentication, authorization. And so let's see what all these are. Okay, so authentication now is the process of verifying the identity of a user, system, or device before granting access. Now that a person says this is who he is, he has to provide proof that he is who he say he is, right? Before we can grant you access through this door. You understand? Now the reason for mounting security guards is that they deter threat actors from invading into their premises, right? So that is the same thing as all these security mechanisms that have been put in place. They They are like the guards guiding whatever infrastructure they are guiding, whichever network, whichever devices or whichever systems they are protecting, right? So it ensures that the entity requesting access is who they claim to be, right? Now, what are these things that makes this proof of this thing? Now, biometrics, smart tokens, security, clearance levels, the password, the username and all that. They are these things, they are mechanisms that have been put in place so that you prove that you are the owner of this thing, you have authorized access to this thing. So common authentication methods. Now something also known as knowledge based authentication. Now something should be examples, there's a NIN number, there is no two other person. So whichever identification that is being made, if another person now wants to use it, he's impersonating you because he can't be you, right? And then those kind of people is people who we don't want to have access to these systems, people who don't have that legal right to our systems, to our informations, to those data we are protecting, right? Now something you are. Now this question comes up, they put it in very cheeky ways, right? So they will give examples of maybe security scenarios or examples, and then tell you to identify under which one it falls, under which of the authentication methods it falls, right? So something you are. Now also known as realistic authentication. Now example, biometrics, the fingerprint, retina, facial recognition, voice recognition, iris scan and all that, right? They are something you are. You are created like that. You are something you are. You understand? That is who you are. Like that is, you cannot change it. Now I remember one question that they asked on this thing. They say which of these methods is likely to give a false positive. A false positive, I will talk about those ones. True positive, false negative, true negatives, false negatives. So wow, please. Sorry. Highest tendencies of having false positive. Now, false positive means um, denying access to an authorized user. You understand? It's false positive, right? He's an authorized person, but because of maybe misconfiguration that was done, he didn't allow an authorized person in, or maybe okay, like from here now, the one that has the highest is something you are. Now, for where maybe your eyes, you set facial recognition and then your eyes had an issue, or your face, now you see you are an authorized person now, but because of that it will flag it up as you are an unauthorized person, right? So this something you are has the tendencies, have much more tendencies of um, getting results like the false negative, false positive, sorry, that is denying access to someone who should have access to, right? So now if it was improperly configured, now it will deny access to this person because maybe during the setting of the system they disabled your own access to that network or system. So you see, it has the highest probability of denying an authorized user. Now multi-factor authentication. Now always understand that something is knowledge based, your PIN, your passwords and all that. Something you have, your passport, your name, your security, everything, your driver's license, all those one is something you have, right? Something you are, those are your natural traits, those are your how you were created. So those are part of you, right? So they are your fingerprints, your retina, and the rest. So multi-factor authentication, a combination of two or more authentication methods to increase security. Now offering more layers, right? Now it often happens that after choosing one of this something, maybe you carry something you are, You understand? Or something you have joined. You understand? Now, joining something you know and something you are is multi-factor authentication. After your username and password, you join it with facial recognition, right? So that is multi-factor authentication, right? You can see even, but the reason they don't put a lot is it depends on the severity of the document. Is not to stress people that much. Now imagine you put all the three and other ways, you understand? So it's more of like there won't be uh like the UI UX design people, they will tell you that the user experience is hard to navigate, right? So one of those things is to make security simple but then sophisticated too. So a user logs in an online banking platform using a password and a one-time code sent to their phone. So this is an example of a multi-factor using the one-time OTP code, right? So where does the OTP code falls under? Something you know, something you have, something you are. Where does it fall under? One-time password, the OTP code, eh? Something you
Something
have.
you have.
So how about it? Something you have. All right, but something you have. You too. Okay. How about you? Is the two using password and one time is MFA. Now, but under this something you have, something you have, something which one does the one time code falls under? Something you have. Alright. So it's correct. It's correct. So it falls under something you have. Right? So let's move on. So authorization. Now, authorization determines what action an authenticated person, remember he's already been um verified, he has passed through that verification systems. Now what does he do inside when he's inside now, right? Is another way of authorized. There should be the reason for this authorization is so that whoever it is that has access to this thing, once there's a problem here, we know that you are the person which the problem comes from, right? So authorization determines what action an authenticated entity, right, is permitted to perform within a system. So it follows the principle of least privilege. So you see the abbreviation that they use for least privilege, principle of least privilege, POLP, right? So you know that one in case you see it in the exam. So you know this is principle of least privilege. So to restrict access to only necessary functions. So these common authorization methods, we are going to see it in the next slides. So we'll explain them much better. So accounting, accounting or auditing. Now accounting or auditing involves tracking and recording user activities within a system to ensure accountability. Now, whatever we are doing is that whatever actions, whatever processes, whatever policies you put in place, you have to be accountable for it. Now, there are things that have been set in place that you cannot deny it. You cannot deny involvement in certain uh, integrations, in certain installations, in certain transactions, in certain transmissions. You cannot deny involvement. So that is this accounting, that whoever it is that have been authorized, that have been verified and then authorized, he's accountable for whichever action he does in those systems. Now, logs provide a trail of activities that can be analyzed in case of security incidents. Now, this log in the sense that, okay, I click this Chrome um, app, and then at the time I clicked it, that was when I installed a malware into it. Now, there's a log in place to take that, right? So you see that whichever actions it is you are taking, for every security incident, they check these logs, right? They check them and know, because it's one of those ways of knowing what has happened in case of an attack. So going through logs is one of those ways. Now, it makes sure users are accountable for their actions. It encourages them to take proactive measures to secure information, follow best practices, and ensure compliance with all applicable insurance. Now, it makes key components now of accounting: login, recording user actions, login attempt of accounting, login, recording user actions, login attempt, file accesses, right? So now when I on this system, the time that I put the password and everything, that was when I started my movement into. Now, if you check what security people do now, maybe when you go to some organizations, the security guard there, there's a book now. You understand? You write your name, the time you entered. Now, once you are coming out, you write the time you left, and then you sign in and sign out. So all those things are logs, right? So it also happens on the digital landscape, right? I think they even got it from there in order to know, okay, at this time of the time you were in this building, you understand, maybe you were missing something and everything, and then you went to this building, and that was at the time it was recorded that it started missing. So you see, through that log you'll be able to, think and then identify which method they intruded this system, at which time, how was it done, and all that, right? So you check for movements around. Now, monitoring. Now, analyzing logs for unusual behaviors. Now, e.g., multiple failed login attempts, right? This person have been trying to log in, trying to log in, trying to log in. It has not been giving him access. You understand? You know that, okay, it picks it up that someone has been trying to intrude in this system for a while now, right? So it tells you that there's been someone who has been eyeing those your systems and everything. So it's now left for you to, okay, let me check my policies that I've made, the security settings I've made, configurations I've made, and everything. Let me see. So they create awareness for you through that monitoring, right? So incident response, using logs to investigate and respond to security events, as I earlier said. So to best have where to start from, we have to know from where it's all started from, in order to know how to mitigate the attack, right? So a company uses now, this security information and event management is a tool used for analyzing, logging, and monitoring, analyzing behaviors in systems, in networks, right? So what this CM tool does is a tool, right? Is a tool. The major thing it does is logging in, putting those logs down, and also analyzing unusual behaviors in systems. So the major is this logging and monitoring. So a company uses a security information and event management tool system to monitor employee activity and detect unauthorized access attempts, right? So the one of the tools used for this account is CM tools. Remember, we also talked about NetFlow, right? So we talked about NetFlow. It also has that logging capacity. Now is from a different vendor, from Cisco, right? So there are other tools from other vendors that has these abilities. Not that they are, but whichever way they are under this name, you understand, under this security information and event management, right? So non-repudiation. So non-repudiation in cybersecurity is a security principle that prevents a party from denying their involvement in a message or action. So it is called non-repudiation. So you see it in options. They will say, the act of an entity not denying who he is, or denying his involvement in an action, is which of these security principles? They will say maybe principle of least privilege, principle of this, non-repudiation, and all that. You understand? So most times, you can even see four options are almost the same thing. I'm telling you. So it's just for you to know the key words in these definitions. Some of them are signed alike and then confuse you in the process, right? They are very confused. Don't worry. When we start doing those questions, I think after I'll bring out questions for that eventually might come out from this. So you see how tricky their questions are. So vital for providing evidence of user involvement in a transaction communication. Now one of these things is timestamp, right? Now in your messaging app, your WhatsApp now, there is the time which you sent a message and then the time the person read and all those things. All those things is logs. You understand? So I've seen people that they cut through those guys, you cannot deny it again that this thing happened. And even though you delete it from your end and the other person might have it, if the two of you have been smart to delete it, and this is where the forensic people now comes in. They must get the residual data from it. You understand? So if they actually want to do an investigation into someone, they see even calls that you've made and it is there. All of our calls that we're making daily is just maybe no one has rights to it. Now, unless you are under investigation, now they will have to apply to the NCC, that is the National Communication Commission, right? They will have to apply there that they need this so calls call log that you made throughout the last month. You understand? Now it will have to be on the basis of you are really under investigation because you have that right that no one should have access to this your information, to this your communications. So crucial. So you see that it's a way of getting evidence for doing users involvement in an action. So crucial for establishing trust and ensuring secure business via electronic communication channels. So it creates trust. And which part of trust is non-repudiation? Which part of the CIA triad is the non-repudiation? Non-repudiation. Now we wonder which confidentiality, integrity, and availability this thing does it fall under? Confidentiality. Who else? People on the online class. Non-repudiation falls under which triad?
So, if I remember correctly, non-repudiation is when it's to prevent someone to say he made a change when he was the one that did, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, so it falls on the hold on, integrity, availability, it's possible.
It's confusing, right?
I think it's integrity actually, not because if you say it's confidentiality,
If
confidentiality is
if
giving access to unauthorized persons to have access to sensitive data, while integrity is ensuring that the data is not changed, is maintained. So if reputation is saying that um, making sure that one person does not denies changing a sensitive information, then its integrity falls over.
all right, any other person? Okay, someone wants to counter your own points. Now someone I'm coming. Now someone said it's confidentiality. So you listen, I don't know what he wants to say, but I like it that we're having contradicting views. So let me hear you. Can you hear him? Sorry, I'm coming.
Yes, I can. Yes, I'm
All right.
trying to.
So Lillian, you heard him.
Yeah, but in this point, the emphasis is changing, right?
Yeah.
So he might already have access, right? Which covers the C, which is confidentiality. What if he already have access to view the sensitive information, but he does not have access to change, right? Or he's not
Okay.
authorized to change. And then he changes it, right? And then he later denies it. So that falls under integrity.
So
That's why I'm
any other person
putting it under
before
integrity
I
actually.
give my last take, any other person. Which one is no? Support. Let somebody support any of them. You support integrity. Why they leave your guy now? People on the online class. So you see, these are the questions they likely set. Okay. So, uh, Samuel, Samuel on the online class. The, Samuel, you are there. Oh. Okay. So let me give my final. So non-repudiation. Let's understand it more. Okay. Now, it's more hinges on it's more okay. The right answer is integrity. So before I go on, okay. Now, remember that what integrity does is that this thing is consistent. This thing is unaltered. This thing is not modified. Right? Now, the whole part of integrity is trust. Right? Now, a security principle that prevents a party from denying their involvement in a message. Now, I get from your own point where you are saying that since it is an authorized person now, he already has access to it, right? That was what you were saying. So, okay, sorry. Sorry, please. All right, let down sit. Maybe after the class. Yeah. You're welcome. I don't know. You can just come and have a seat. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Now, how do we achieve non-repudiation? Now, non-repudiation is achieved through digital signatures and digital certificates. Now, they fall under integrity, right? Remember from the first instances where I was giving us. Now, I told us that these digital signatures are a way of proving trust between a vendor and a user, right? Now, this overall, that there is an end-to-end encryption to these messages, right? Now, remember, in case of an investigation now, right? Now, the person now is trying to deny that he is this person. Now, we are going to bring unaltered file, even though he has deleted it. You understand? We're going to prove that yes, you understand, this person has made this transaction, this person has done this person has done this. You understand? So the ways at which you prove these things are through digital certificates, and so we are going to see it in the next slide now, what these digital certificates, digital signatures are. All right. So non-repudiation is under integrity, more of trust. Okay. So don't confuse yourself. Thank you. So thank you all for contributing. It's nice one. I like it that way, that we're having views like that, right? So it will help us understand you more. So don't even feel like not trying. It's when sometimes when you are corrected that you don't forget something at all because you've once made mistakes. So digital signatures. Now, a digital signature is a cryptographic technique used to verify the authenticity and integrity of digital messages or documents. Now, it is the electronic equivalent of a handwritten signature, right? But provides greater security due to encryption and hashing mechanisms, right? And we remember that hashing mechanisms are under which they are part of the triad. They are under integrity. right? Checksums, we say checksums, we said hashing, right? Now, um, they said is equivalent to the handwritten signature. Now remember that if you want to use a check to cash out money from bank, now they need your signature, which sometimes people do like chase it, make transactions, just try and draw down your signature and everything. Now this one is the electronic type of signature now. You understand? In the sense that during hashing or encryption, we create the signatures now are those hash values. They are those ciphertext that we've transformed from plain text, right? Using encryption methods. So you see that those hashing values that we've created, the reason why we call them signatures is that they are unique. You only have those kind of numbers that appears only once you've hashed it, right? So now me creating a public key or a private key is like a signature to this thing. You understand? So it's more of um giving access because you have this hashing values, you have these encrypted values too. Okay, so those numbers and everything, they are the signatures. Now how does digital signatures work? Now hashing, the sender generates a hash. Remember we say it is a fixed length digital representation, right? In our last class we said hashing are, they have this fixed length, they are unique. One of those characteristics of hashing we saw, right? So welcome ma. This is your first class, but actually this is the third week and we've covered a bit. um um you are not late in the sense that you have to catch up to. Okay, so I will, after the class I will share you the slides which we finished from, and also this one will be made available in the group. So whichever way, you just catch up with them. So if when you guys are going through those resources and then there is places you don't understand, you let me know so I will know how to balance you guys so that people will be up to speed with them, right? So thank you guys for coming. So now of the message document using a cryptographic hash function. Now this um SAH256 is the recent one that has been used. There's SAH3 secure hashing value. Now there's the ones they've been using before, but then over time it has come to notice that those other ones has vulnerability, so they always upgrade it. So the present one, which and commonly used one, is the SAH for hashing. For the tool is SAH256. So there are other ones, but this is the strongest, one of the strongest among them, right? So this hash uniquely represents the data. Now if any changes occur, the hash value will also change. Remember, that is what we said. Now if as I earlier said, this document has been modified in the sense that a new paragraph has been included in it. Now if I am to hash it back, I can't get what I got before, right? It has totally changed. That is, it is now telling me that hello, this document has been modified in a way. So it is no longer what I sent, it is no longer what I sent to you that I'm receiving back, right? So if I'm to send a document to any of you now, then I'll send you the hashing value after I've hashed it. Now and then that value, now once I send it to you and then you've hashed it from your own end, and then it doesn't give you the same thing I give to you, then maybe through my transmission someone has intercepted and made a modification to it. So I will tell you that is not what I sent, right? So we'll find a more secure way to send it in order so that these values will match, right? So encryption. Now the sender encrypts the hash using their private key. This encrypted hash is the digital signature, encrypted hash. So even the hash now say we will still turn it to ciphertext, right? So we are going to turn it back to still ciphertext in a scrambled form. right? So you see all these layers is to ensure that if you pass this first one, there's another one waiting for you. So remember we said about the onion type of defense, in the sense that it has so many layers, right? That in the sense of a breach or anything, before he gets to the actual system which he wants to get to, we might have gotten information that this intrusion has been ongoing, or there is an attempt to breach, or there is an attempt to log or anything. So then transmission, the signed message, that is the original message from digital signature, is sent to the recipient. Now that scrambled form, that ciphertext form, is now being sent to you, right? So you see, now the verification, the recipient decrypts the key using the sender's public key. The recipient then hashes the received messages and compare it with the decrypted hash. If both of these hashes, if both hashes match, the message integrity and authenticity are confirmed. So you see what has been confirmed now? The integrity has been confirmed. So you understand the much better now, right? So digital certificate. Now, a digital certificate is an electronic document used to prove ownership of public key and is issued by a trusted third party known as a certificate authority. Now, inside the contents of this digital certificate, we have the owner's name. I will explain it in best. So we have the owner's name or organization. Now, there are people who gives out this, they are like vendors, this certificate authority, CA, they are like vendors that give out these public keys. Then they will they will they will confirm it. Is a verification that you are the owner of this key, right? Now, I want to check a scenario which I will use, that we use in our daily life to best explain it. Um, okay, if you have been issued a driver's license, now the issuer now is FIRSC, right? FIRSC, right? Now, in the space where they stand now, they are like the certificate authority, right? Now it's proving ownership, it's proving that you as a person can drive, you as a person know the sign rules on the road, you as a person know the rules and regulations of driving, uh, both in the city, in, you understand, you pass those requirements, those prerequisites they have. So it's just that document now that is showing that particular information. Now, what these particular people show is that you are the sole owner of these keys, right? Now, they give out this public, they give you this certificate to, and also it has expiring date, the serial number to it, in case they want to verify from their own site whether it was from us or not from us, right? Now, the digital signature of the CA. So, how digital certificates work. Now, key pair generation. Now, a user generates a pair of cryptographic keys. Remember, cryptographic keys are these. I've forgotten it. So, a user generates a pair of cryptographic keys. Those are the private and the public keys. Now, the public key now, along with the identity details, those informations we saw, right, now is sent to a certificate authority. Now these people now are the ones to verify these details and sign this certificate using its private key, creating a trusted certificate. Now they create this key, but they don't have right to share out these keys, because even from their own end they hash it and turn it back to a scrambled form, right? So even after giving you that key in their database, in case of a breach in their own place, it doesn't give that public key. Now the person can access those documents because you gave that person that public key, right? If no one has it except you, no one has the monopoly to decrypt your file, right? So um certificate validation. When a user or system presents a digital certificate, the recipient verifies the CA's signature. Now they are like a body now. So if a road safety personnel sees your driver's license, he knows that it has been given to you from their own body, You understand? So no much of interrogations and because it's from them. Alright. So whoever is enforcing this thing knows that okay, I bear the emblem of this organization. So whichever informations that has been acquired from this place was given from us. Now, types of digital certificate. Now we have the SSL and the TLS certificates. Now using HTTPS website to encrypt data. Now this SSL is formed for secure shell layer, right? Now that TLS is layer transport layer security certificate. Now what it does, it secures the transfer of informations. It creates that encrypted tunnel that this information has been using. Okay, VPNs now, they are part of this SSL TLS certificates, right? They are part of these types of certificates. Now the VPNs now, because it creates this tunnel at which informations pass securely. You understand? Now, hinging that the integrity of this data through transmission has not been. Remember, these digital certificates and digital signature are all under integrity. Now, what this SSL at the SSL and TLS layers, what they do is creating that trust, creating that integrity. The information that has passed through here, information that have been contributed through here, has not been modified in any way. Right? So we have code signing certificate used to verify software authenticity. Now for large organizations that they tell all these big companies create these softwares for me. Now they will give you their source codes in encrypted ways, in that nobody has that kind of source code to recreate that kind of application or anything. You understand? So it's a way of securing source codes now. You understand? So that is the code signing certificate. When you are issued, is that you are only the person that has access to this source code. Now source codes are um, programming language that you understand. Now when programming now, the things you type, the instructions you type, that in your coding virtual space, now things you type are known as the source code. Now they are the computer, the machine doesn't understand source codes. Now it will have to translate it to its own binary language and all that. So the understandable form now is the source code. Now he will send it to you. You understand? Because if he gives it to me, I use it, I'll create that same from Angular because I have that source code. Right? So to encrypt it in order that no other person has it, you have this code signing certificate issued. Alright, so we have email certificate, that is the SMIME. If I remember, is secure multipurpose internet mail extension. Yeah. So this is for encrypting email files that is being sent, right? Creating that secure tunnel in which emails messages go through, right? So client certificate used for user authentication in the form of something you have, all those smart tokens and everything. Now it's being issued by your office. Now if you get at this door, you should, once you use it for the door sensor, it should allow you because you're an authorized person. So you see, it's also a certification given. So role of the certificate authorities, the CAs, they act as trusted entities. Now they have binding rules that they don't share these informations out to any other party. That is why it is one of those orderly and sophisticated arm in cybersecurity, this certificate authority. Now they have other vendors under them. Like I think the Google IS, they are under these people. Now, but then these are the people who are given that license to operate as vendors under them. So even if you are purchasing from a third party vendor, that means you should they should have numbers that is proving that this person is from us, that these vendors are from us, right? Now in their own site too, you see all the vendors that are under them. So when you are purchasing, you know that okay, this thing you are purchasing is also directly from the certificate of authority, but from their third-party vendors, right? So they act as a trusted entities that issue and validate. Now, if in case of expiry, now once through the validation process is being known that this, they will flag um, all your details till when you renew it, because in 5 years time what has been before is not the same thing as now, so you have to come and update data, update information so that you still have those certificates in place, right? So an expired one doesn't show that emblem of integrity. You understand? Now, if it's an expired one, it's showing that this thing might have been modified because it's an expired certificate. So upon validation, the CA they does it, they do it, that they verify your authenticity as still a user, as still a verified user, as still someone who is still onboarded in their servers, right? That your information has not been outdated or expired. So privacy is the ability to choose who knows about us and how they use that information. Now, that is the reason for putting that terms and condition in those applications, all those things, is mostly because of this privacy and for you to know what you are getting yourself into. So if they tell you in that terms and condition that this or this thing will be shared by this third party, and then you click agree, you've given them that right to share this your personal informations, those your data, those your informations, to this third party. So that is what happens. It happens with your consent. The giving out of your data information happens with your consent. Now is the ability for you to choose. You have that right. Choose whether to allow or not allow, whether to allow what this user should have, and how he should use this information should he have access to your information. So it is about being able to maintain control over personal and professional identities. Now, when they wanted to when in the case of Tinubu, before he got into say that, he said they should not, they were appealing to the I forgotten which security arm. So they were like they should release his records, his and everything. So he said one of in the appeal he made by that it will cause some harms to him and all that and everything. Now it was for us to know, but then because they are his personal information, they declined, right? So I remember then the tensions and everything were high and everything, but he has that sole purpose, that sole right to choose who will and what they should do with that kind of information. So you see, in countries where these laws work very well, you understand, you have a very big right in wherever you are filling your informations on any network or any applications or anything. So that is why that terms and condition accept, decline, what we do with these informations gets to you. Now, privacy can help keep our personal data safe and secured, as well as ensure that our conversations, messages and activities stay between the people you trust with your data, right? So that is the overall work. Welcome. Welcome. Sorry, which class are you at? Front end. Okay, going to that. Thank you. So personally identifiable information. Personally identifiable information. Now it's called the PII. When you see PII, you know it's personally identifiable information. Now PII is any type of information that can be used to identify an individual, such as name, address, security number, driver's license, among others. Right? So your name now is your personally identifiable information, in that you are the only person that we can identify with this number, with this ID card. You are the only one we can confirm with this identity, right? You are the only one we can identify using these credentials. So it is important to protect this information, as it can be used by malicious actors for various criminal activities, right? Example of this kind of criminal impersonation, right? So impersonation happens because you know this person, you knows you have his pictures, you know his informations. So I can impersonate him when I go somewhere and they're asking me question and act as if I'm the person. Now it's because I've had access to those informations earlier before now. So I can act as the person. Now, it is essential to maintain the highest level of security to keep individuals' PII safe and secure. Now, see what they say now, highest level of security. Now, remember I told us that every informations and impacts are based on severities that happen after every threat, right? Now, these personal data that you see, they are of utmost importance to any organizations. You might feel it that it's just somebody's name, address, his security number, his whatever it is and all that. Now it holds a highest place because him as a citizen, he has that right for privacy. He has that right that no one should know these informations about him. So you see, under legal avenue, he has that right to sue whichever company gives out these informations. Now, this is where financial losses usually occur to come to organizations. Now, after data breaches and then there is people's informations that has been divulged, maybe during the threat. Now, a lot of is serious financial loss, because they have to compensate those people one after the other. If there are millions in their database, they have to compensate them. So, and you see again, the reputation of that organization now has been, no one will want to trust them with their informations and everything. So before they will get back on their feet is very hard at times. Sometimes it even comes as the end for your business and all that. So you see why it has to maintain the highest level of security for that. Okay, so it's one of those disastrous attacks that if it should happen, the system. Most of the times, there are people who steal people's data. That's the aim of them intruding in systems just for people's data. Now, there are cybersecurity frameworks under this privacy, under this personality. They fall under the GDPR, right? Is a protection for people's personal data, right? So whenever you are employed as a cybersecurity operational, one of those things to hold in high regards, apart from privileged accounts and all that, one of them is these personally identifiable information. Now we have authorization models. Now we have firstly the role-based access control, that is the RBAC. Now you know that this name is very long. Nobody will be listing it inside question for you. So they will just use RBAC, ABAC, MAC, DAC, right? So it's just for you to know. Now I'm going to explain it to the simplest of way. However you hear this security control methods, you should understand that this is now role-based access control. Now RBAC is access is determined based on role assigned to users. Now roles are predefined and then permissions are granted based on job functions. Now these are also security control methods in the sense that if we are working in these organizations, for us to access this file, we are going to make configurations into the systems that if it's from the IT desk, they should be able to have security informations. Now the finance people now should be able to access because of their job function, because of their job role now. That is why they are being given access to financial data of the company, right? So if I'm working in the production department, if I have those documents as maybe the company's recipe for their products, their ingredients for their products, now who should have those kind of access? Now there's nothing an IT person is doing having access to those things, right? So because it is outside his information, it is outside his job role, his job function, right? So that is where this role-based access control hinges on. Now a database example, a database administrator has full access to the database while an analyst has only the read-only access. Now you see, it's based on their job function. Now the database administrator has the full right to it, right? He has the full right because it is in his own place, his own job role, because he's the administrator of all the networks now of this database. You understand? He owns everything that happens in the sense that he will put it, okay, he has access to read, write, modify and everything. You know, as an analyst now, there's nothing you are doing modifying it. Is to read and analyze, right? You read all these things and then analyze. So you see, from their job functions they've had. Now if it is the edit only option he has, it depends on your job role. If it is the delete, you get, it depends on those job functions, right? What you are being assigned to. So roles are predefined. They've already defined that you are from the IT, from the production, from the finance department. So once they've defined it, now they'll set from there. Now for the IT people, these are what they should have access to, the pros and cons of that your job role. So once you are trying to have access, it will decline, in the sense that in the process of what it has been said, it has been put in place that this kind of thing should not be, this kind of person, this user should not be authorized into this system, because his job role or his job function doesn't give him that right to access such information. So we understand. So attribute based access control, ABAC. Now access is granted based on attributes such as user role, location, device time and time of access. Now more flexible than RBAC as it allows dynamic policies. Now they might say if you are from Nigeria, you should not have access to certain kind of informations in the database as a result of your location. Now if it happens at this time of the night, nobody should be able to have access of these informations, right? So those are attributes that they put in place. Now you cannot access these files when it's 7 p.m. in the evening, right? So those kind of access controls comes under this ABAC. Now if we are using maybe a device type that they don't allow in the office and all that, maybe because of reasons they have, maybe because the system, the devices, they don't use because they don't trust them, or they don't have enough sophisticated security mechanism in order for any, if we are to send informations and all that, so this device cannot handle those kind of informations. You understand? So all those things are things set in place in this ABAC. So you see, it's more flexible than the RBAC, right? Because you have dynamic, different type of policies on it, right? So at this time of the night, this kind of device, this kind of person, this kind of user, his role in the organization, and then his location from where he wants to access such information. Now a user can only access a cloud application during work hours from a company laptop. So you see, from a company laptop is another thing, device type. Now during work hours, the time of access, right? So you see, these are, they've put in like two attributes into. So they might give you a user who only has access to a cloud application during work hours from a computer laptop falls under which access control method. Now you see, it falls under the attribute base. So all these kind of information, there are questions which we might get during the exams, right? Now mandatory access control, which is usually used in the military. Now access permissions are determined by a central authority and cannot be modified by users, often used in government and military environment. Now for military people who have, or government people who have job, they will be like, you hear, they will say this person is level 19, level 14 in the government is level this, is level, you understand? So these levels determine their pay grade, right? Now a level 14 person is any more than a level 13 person, right? So you see that their job functions also will also differ, and what they can view and everything can also differ. So you are accessing this classified information because you are in level 19, or because you are a major general, you understand, in the case of a military, you understand. So they use security clearance also to grant access. So it's more happens in the government and military. So, and then this military question comes most of the times under this mark a lot. So, um, discretionary access control. Now, this discretionary access control is, for example, now let's see the whole thing. Now, they say the owner of an object has full control. Now, an object might be that document or the network or anything, right? So, the owner of an object has full control over its permission and can decide who gets access. My goodness. So, more flexible but can be less secure if not managed properly. Now, an example of the one we know very well, uh, if I have a document which I've created with maybe Google Documents, right? And then I want to share you that file. Now, in that file now, there is a place which will show um I'm coming, like this file now. Okay, you see share, right? Now, if I want to share this file now you see people, I can see the owner now. I'm the owner, right? I'm the owner of this file. Now, if I want to add any other person, now if I add the person and then give me who anyone should just give me his email address. So if I share it with the person now, I'll determine what you should do with it. Either to only view it, either to only edit it, or you can view and edit it, or you can delete it, right? From here, right? It's in my cloud. You get? So I am the owner of this document. So I create the access for everybody from my own place, right? So an owner of a document has this right to give out access and what they should do with those documents if you should. Someone should help me with his email address. I mean, none of you I get email address. You still share. It's just like me giving you the resource. So just eh? Okay. Ola. Ola Lekan. Like this, right? Okay, sorry. Okay. E, right? So you see editor. Now I will choose what I want him to do with the file when I send it. So if it's only view only, he can't do anything with this file except he should view it. You understand? So far it's on this cloud. You see? He cannot he can send me a message but not him modifying anything inside the document. The things I've sent him, he can only view it. He can't change anything inside. So, but if I make him an editor, he can be able to edit it, right? So, okay, I'm using work account. I can't send it from here, sorry. It's not my personal, it's the work account, sorry. So any question so far? Thank you. Even on the online class, any questions so far?
Yeah. So you were explaining the attribute based access control, right? In
Right.
that aspect, they also have is based on
On what? Let me
they
open
give
it so that
of
you see it.
us a question. Can you hear me?
On user role, location, device time, and access time of access.
Yes. So how do we differentiate it from the role based one? If we have an example that is user role,
Now,
do you
if
understand
it
me?
all okay, thank you. Now, if it only mentions the user role is role based, right? The role based is not flexible. It's just that user role, nothing else. Now, what makes this one more dynamic? Now, it's only been mentioned that it's a user through the role. You understand? The equation being
Mm-hmm.
shown to you, and then they only made mention of the user role, his job function. Now you go for
Mm.
role-based access control. Now most of the times
Okay.
these questions or informations comes when there is, it's more flexible in the sense that they add these policies, these attributes together. You understand? To create,
Okay.
yes, to
All right.
create the access control. You understand? They add it together to create this access control. You understand? So even as a cloud security analyst, you have time of accessing information. Now you see there is your
Mm-hmm.
job role there, but then there is also time that you can access this information. So you see it's no
Okay.
longer the role based now, because you have time of access, which
Time
is under,
factored
yes.
in
So you see it will now fall
attribute.
under attribute based control,
Attribute.
right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. So any more question? Any question from us
Please,
here?
we cannot see your screen anymore.
Okay, sorry. It's almost time. I think we'll stop here. But let me just share my screen. We'll stop here.
So
The
have you
net.
explained the discretionary? Because I don't think I got anything from it.
The what?
Discretionary.
Discretionary. Yeah, I explained it now, right?
You stop sharing
See,
your screen
okay.
actually,
Let
and we
me
could.
let
I
me.
could.
Don't worry. I will. It's showing now. Is my screen not still? Alright, let me stop it first. So I said I was giving an analogy. I said an owner has the full rights and can decide who to give access to informations, to those documents that he has full right of. Because I'm the one that has this documents, I'm the one that created this document, so I have the right to share it with anybody to maybe help me edit it, maybe go through. Now if I'm sharing it to someone who will help me in maybe modifying it a little bit, maybe because of what I told him to do, right? Now him modifying it or him editing it because I gave him permission to, right? Now in setting those controls, I was giving them an example. I don't know how best to explain without showing you, but so can you see my screen? Can you guys see my screen? People on the online class, can you see my screen now?
Yes. Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So here is my cursor on the share. Can you see it? So if I want to share this file now you see private to only me. Now look at what it says now. Only people with access can open with link. Now you see, now I can add people, groups, or maybe calendar events to it. Now I can add people. Now if I add people, they can have access to this. Now if even after I add people, I can still decide on what they should do with the document. Either they can edit it or delete it or view it only, right? So I have that full right of who has to have access to it and decide what they should do with the document. So that is discretionary access control type, right? So
Does it apply to file sharing only?
yeah, yeah, to documents, and it's not only file sharing. If I create a software and then I only want to have sole proprietorship to the sole ownership to that software. Now I modify it in the sense that I only have access to it. But most of the times it's file
Okay.
sharing and all that. So it's more of
Okay. I get.
documents and all that. Yeah. So
I understand. Thank you.
so I'll be stopping here. Next class will start on security controls and all that. So we're going to check types of security control functions. Least privilege needs to know and separation of duties. Then IC2 overview and code of ethics. So all these things we are going to see them from the next class. So we are going to stop here. Okay. So any question before I say something? Any question, guys? So how has been the class so far? How has been the classes so far? No, no, like see, what I want to do now is that see, forget that I'm here, you get. So show you one.
Okay,
So
so
I, you know, the reason I'm coming, the reason I am asking is, you know, from my personal, I want to know like if it's been educative and where I should do much better, you know. So is I welcome criticism and everything. So has been the class for the 2 weeks, and because I don't want it that we come and waste our time here. You get it? So I want us to, use a very good use of our time here. That I want to, have this feeling and also have this that I've done what I should have done during this boot camp, in the sense that the whole scope of this boot camp is being achieved. The whole objectives of this boot camp is being achieved. So it's just I was doing an introspection from my own end of trying to see what have I been doing well and what have I actually need to improve and all that. So firstly from my own end, one of those things I thought is we start classes late, right? Sometimes due to problems from me while I'm setting up things, and then from you guys also not showing up early, right? So I was just trying to see how best um, I will be able to utilize this boot camp for you guys. So whichever thing is welcome, to be honest. I really want to know, say, to where I should improve, what you feel you need for me to add and all that. So because we are going into the more deeper levels now, and then I want to know how we've been doing it and where I should focus more and improve. So over to you guys. Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you. So thank you. So me, I'll stop coming late. I know my problem. I come here late. So I know my so I'll like sometimes when we start is 20 minutes after 10. But from my own end and from people's end, what we'll be doing is one starts class, I'll start with whether people is virtual or there's no people physical, or I'll start. So whenever you come, you meet up. So it's for us to do much better and then use our time well, so that what we are here to, because we are time bound for things to cover, right? So I know the lot of things we need. So I think this timing is another thing very important for us. So is it okay with us like that? Once it's 10, I start. Or
yes.
I should give a grace. Eh? There should be room for some minutes. 5 minutes. I'm talking 20. I'm using it to waste. 15 is too much. Okay, I'll give. Okay, 10 minutes is okay now. 10 minutes is okay. We should start highest 10, 10, right? So 10 minutes. Okay. So any other contributions, questions, or anything so far?
So for me, the class has been very um explanatory and expository. So I have gone through both contents previously, the cybersecurity, Cisco certified in cybersecurity, and as well as the ISC2. I've gone through it, and at the time I wanted to schedule the exams, going through online, I found out that mostly what I saw online was that the course it content alone is not enough for you to pass the exam, because I had a friend who failed it using just the content alone. So it kind of made me not so confident in writing the exams, and then I kept postponing. And although my membership have expired with ISC2, right? So, but
Uh,
with this class now, I have become a little more confident. My confidence level has improved because I'm able to I'm able to connect my learnings, the residual knowledge I have now. I can now connect it. Okay, this is what it is. You are connecting it to the CIA triad. This is what you're trying to do, and then it's become very simple. All right. And I was even trying to schedule my exam now. I'm like, let me just wait a little. Maybe after 2 weeks with this class, I'll schedule the exam and write it once and for all. But in all, it is very explanatory. You break it down very well for us. And I feel if we just do a little more, right, we all pass the ISC2 exam. Right, really. So that's it. Thank you so much.
all right, thank you very much for that one. So, to be honest with you guys, you see, there is something she said. Yeah, someone failed, and then it's a kind of now. Three of my friends failed these exams when they wrote. I will tell you, I rescheduled my own 3 times before I eventually have the mind to even write it. Now, even the day I went, the guy I met is from it was in Asaba then. So the guy I met there, we when you got to know that I was writing the high square at that time, so we became friends. You understand? We started talking. You understand? So he failed that exam. You understand? So and then, but if there is something I'm trying to do much better is, that whichever, however those questions are being thrown, you understand it. Remember, I always say that you don't cram these stuff. You understand it as per your understanding the concepts, trying to distinguish it from the ones that might be similar. Now, I might, the reason I put in that weekly assessment and all that is to increase performance, and then when you fail questions you understand them much better. So before me sitting for the exams, to be honest with you guys, I like went through almost 600 questions that I can remember. I went through 600 questions, like answering them in exam mode. You understand? So it's like in exam mode. I got a voucher then for UDME. It's on UDME, and then they had 600 questions under IC square CC exam. Now they have it as exam mode, and also so there's time and everything. So it was one of the things that boosted me. So those questions, I'll bring them. I will know how to get them from. I still have access to those questions. But it's how I will now be putting them, because it's from another site. So I will be able to be taking them. It's another thing I'm thinking, but I will do that. So um if you have questions, you ask, okay? You understand? I know I'm not an island of, but not an island of knowledge. And then because I'm teaching this doesn't mean there are things which I might not know. But to some extent, this foundational knowledge is something I should, you understand, because I really passed the exam well. I passed it like at least 82 is good. You understand? So I remember my score, and then I almost, because at that time I got questions from each domains and saw which of them I had more strength. And the ones I had more weaknesses, I remember then it was on network security domain. I think that's the third domain. I think it was the most difficult for me. You understand at that time. So I had to focus more on it, questions on it, and everything. So I had to balance it. So with all those things, I will try and implement. That is why now before I started, I was saying about the assignment I give. Now all of those things are in it. It's for me to see where how you view this concept and where I should make corrections that I have seen the people that have submitted have gone through all their own. People that have gone through it. So these people I'm able to identify this is how they understand this concept. Alright. So that is why those and then that assessment now I don't know how I actually want to bring it out to everybody, but I don't know how they want to do it because they are talking to me about that the payment. So I don't but me I want to make it available for everybody. So I'll still be talking with the management. If they agree that everybody should have access to it, then I will make provisions for it. Um so thank you all so far for um everything, enduring my lateness and everything. Thank you guys. I'll change.
So I have a question, right? It's
Someone is
pertaining
asking
to
question.
the
Continue.
yes, yes, I have a question.
Just hold
It's
on first.
the
Someone is asking a question.
okay.
Okay, and your class has always been active. That is well known. But one thing I will also ask if it is possible is that aside that those assessments, because when we're being given assessments most time, to provide answer to those questions, you can just copy directly from the studies and the like, just to answer. Answering the assessment very well doesn't mean you
You
have
know,
been
inside the
studying
people
that
that
well.
inside sorry
But
to interrupt. Now inside the people that submitted, I know people who use browsing to answer. So when I see the way you answer your question, I know. You understand? So that one is because you bro keyboard I if it's AI automation is something I have small knowledge on.
so what I want to suggest now is that can we, part of this class,
No,
can we
no.
have an interactive side? Maybe you yourself you present something for people to like ask them questions in between. Then this oral stuff.
Okay, like a space.
In addition to what he said, and what you also said that some people that submitted the assignment, you could find out if
To be honest, I do well, my research is on with AI. You understand? The things I do to understand, there's this if you understand AI command prompts, things you can type in and then the way to modify the answer for you. Now me and you might want to research something but we would search it differently. You understand? Now my whole point of that assessment is for you, do you understand what you are actually putting in there? Now that is where I welcome you. After understanding from here, you use your own word to kind of put it in place. You understand? Now always remember that I said whichever thing you are defining, whatever thing you should the keyword is what you should know and then know how to apply it with your own language. Now I always told us that reporting and all those things, you understand? Now imagine you are reporting a security incident to an organization. Now you use more of your word, but the techniques and everything you did, they are stated frameworks and everything, but then you use your own word to explain how you use this framework to work with this to work. So if you use it, me my own is, do you understand what you are checking through AI? That is the main the important goal for me. You understand? I'm not see I use it a lot. If you know the power which AI has, see it will do a lot. There's almost virtually nothing that you cannot do with it. It's just how to use your command prompt well, the kind of instruction you give it, because it's instruction sensitive. So I'm not negating the fact that you should use another an AI to no understand it. That is it. You understand? So he said he used from the knowledge he got, you used your own words, right? So he kind of tweaked it from what AI gave him. You understand? Now before you could tweak anything is because kind of understood that thing. That is why you even tweaked this information at the first place. So, Lillian, go on. Lillian, go on so that we'll end the class now.
Yeah, so it's about the exam. I found out that there is a duration for the self-paced, right? So if you don't write the exam within that duration, what happens? Do you get to pay
Is
for it?
you can always reschedule. CC doesn't have reschedule um, time limit. It's only like the CISSP exam that if
But
you schedule
I
it,
have lost. So they sent me an email that my membership has expired, or I don't have access to the content anymore. Does that stop me from writing the exam?
no,
Because I
no,
don't.
no,
I
no,
feel like I
no,
want
no,
to wait
no,
till after this class.
no, no, it has not expired.
Oh, great!
If
Thank you.
our
All right.
advice, if our advice, you stay after the class, you
Yeah,
gain a much better understanding of all the stuffs.
e-
You get so
exactly. But
personally, I've used people's experience of failing the exam. See, I was very afraid to write this exam. The reason being that it was not as if at the time when I wrote it, I was confident, but with the way people were feeling it, people who I networked with, like who you were in constant, the way they understood it, but they failed it, is as a result of the questions were very tricky, very, very
yeah,
tricky. So
that's
if
what
you
I
don't
heard.
understand this concept, I know very why I mention no cramming in this stuff. I know very you can never pass it with cramming. See, you only have the only way to passing ISC square is understanding or any cybersecurity. Now, I'm on a journey of I want to write my security plus exams, right? Now, I started the roadmap, and then their own questions are more trickier than you can have all the four. Now, in IC square CC, most times if it's the four, two are very, very similar, two are nonsense. So I think during that exams I did some methods like in cybersecurity
Elimination.
it's better you remove some, then the
Mm.
two best ones you ponder on them and understand them. You understand? So because you've had a better understanding of the two, so you can now think which one is best suited for this question. Now they use things like best, most, you understand? Now all those words, now you
Mm.
see things the same thing, but which one is the best? You understand? So it is you now, because you understand it now, this one has more edge over this one. So it's the
Mm.
best practice for. So you see, they use all those, and in that best, you see it in capital letter in the question. That is to tell you that this is the keyword for whatever you are trying to define and all those stuff. So I will make questions available. Let's try ourselves and everything. So let's just see
All
how
right,
it
but
will be.
do we
So,
have to
but
have security knowledge? Because I think last week I see Nigerian chapter had a program in my company. I only got to find out. So I engaged the president, and he said that he will suggest we have, or I have, a knowledge of security principle, like do the security plus before
okay.
the IIT. Yes. So
Now, the to be honest, every cybersecurity professional, before you even have any knowledge, is best you have security and network knowledge. You see these two, they are like gold mine in cybersecurity. When you understand network system, like now Cisco is best for giving you network knowledge, right? Now, like
mhm.
Professor Mesa is one person I follow online for security knowledges. Now, security plus
Okay.
is more deeper for security, like more deeper. Even me, while I started it, I'm still seeing things more deeper than what I had known from that concept. So, security is a by force or is a prerequisite for you to even say you are a cyber security, but you have to understand security policies, mechanisms and everything. So and then after having this security knowledge, you have to understand these network systems, how they work. That is how you are able to put these security measures, policies into those network systems, so the two can work well. So you see why I said you one needs at least a year, you understand, to be job ready for me. And that 1 year means you are very much dedicated, to it. So overall, security plus knowledge is a plus. Is a plus. But I know they don't go deeper. The questions for the ISC square CC don't go deeper into those security plus type of questions. Yeah, they don't go deeper. Yeah, so because security plus now they have this kind of performance based questions, in the sense that they can put like five different things plus five different questions and answers, then you know how to correlate them and everything. So the security plus knowledge is a plus. So thank you all for your feedback and everything. On Wednesday we go again. Don't get tired, comrades. It's the journey that we should all have. It's all the process, right? So it shouldn't get tiring, because if it's sweeter, everybody will be in the field, right? Now, you've distinguished yourself that you want to pass through this phase, and then it will not be sweet, it will not be easy. You understand? There are days when I don't want to on my laptop. I don't even want to. I'm fully drained, fully tired. You understand? But then at every instant, you start seeing the results, and then it will start propelling you to do more, right? So I wish every one of us the best. This is the end of today's class. See you guys on Wednesday. Enjoy your day, you and yours. Thank you very much. So,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Bye, everyone.
These people on the online class. Let me just first leave the call first.